So first, when drivers approach the tent, we have a registration table. So they fill out a registration form. It's like basic 4 or 5 questions. And then from there, we have a couple of people who are just standing at the entrance to guide the drivers as they're coming in. And we really, really encourage them, please go table by table. There might be things that you don't realize that you need, and while you're here, just maximize your time. Well, we always have the basic screenings, so blood pressure, glucose, cholesterol. We also have screenings for HIV and other STDs, and we always also have back screenings. We found through the years that almost universally, at like rates of 80%, drivers will report high back pain. In total, it would take them about 30 minutes. Sometimes a little bit more, because if you've had a reading that's a little bit abnormal or of concern, then our providers will sit there and engage in one-to-one counseling. These numbers were, really scared us that on the blood pressure, the numbers were very high. On cholesterol, lots of providers saw that the numbers were fairly high. Most of the conditions that drivers work under have a direct impact on their health. They work long hours, they work in dangerous conditions. You're stationary for 12 hours at a stretch. And so there's certain illnesses like bladder cancer or kidney failure, even cardiovascular health, certainly diabetes, that are all known to be connected to some of the working conditions. On the other hand, they're completely uninsured. They're not protected. And so we really see our health fairs as a very basic attempt to really put a Band-Aid on a situation that really requires more of an overhaul surgery. The solution that we will continue to fight for is an industry-sponsored fund that makes sure that whether you make it to a health fair or not, every single taxi driver is able to exercise their inalienable right to have their health prioritized in the economics of this industry. During the parts of the day when it's slower at the airports, less trips coming in, drivers usually take that time to walk around in the taxi lot. And so when we saw that several years ago, we realized it was just the most natural place for us to have our health fairs. Because one, you have a large group of drivers. At Kennedy alone, there's about 700 parking spaces for cabs, and 15,000 cabs are dispatched every 24 hours. APACHA, which is the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition on HIV and AIDS, provided the main monetary support for the fair. We were a sub-grantee of a grant that they received from the Department of Health. Between the airport fairs and the office fairs and the Gurdwara fairs, I would say we screened a total of 3,500 to 4,000 drivers. JFK Medical also came out for the Kennedy Fair, and they were bombarded. I mean, you have to understand, these providers are on their feet. Sometimes it can get pretty, cold or kind of windy, and they're out there for 12 hours, and, it's person after person after person that they're screening. We also had a private practitioner, Dr. Tejani, a great cardiologist who had brought out his colleagues. We had individual practitioners, Dr. Ashwani Rao and Dr. Shorin Roy, who teach at Columbia Medical School. They're physical therapists. The event staff that worked with the providers were all either TWA full-time staff or they were our organizing committee members. It was mainly drivers that staffed the health fairs on behalf of their fellow drivers.